Hello, I'm Ed. Welcome to my channel. While I was working on the American Arrow Comanche to fix up and donate to charity, I've found lots of weird and interesting things about this bike that I want to share, and I thought I'd make a video, so I hope you enjoy. This American Arrow Comanche doesn't show up on Google at all. American Arrow comes up because the company that made it made other bikes in the early 70s, so that's why I'm guessing this bike's in the 70s. It does have a license number from Salt Lake City, so I tried doing a reverse search but with no luck. Another weird thing is it doesn't have a serial number. I looked in all the usual places and I can't find anything. Other American Arrow bikes of this vintage were made in either West Germany or in Belgium. What I could find is the pedals and the chains both have German labels on them, whereas the derailleurs and the brakes are French made. Anyway, it looks like it was made in Europe, which is another strange thing nowadays. The rear derailleur is interesting in itself, in that it's a Hewitt Alavet. Alavet is a conglomeration of two words from French meaning to go fast. But it's one of the original ones that was developed back in the late 60s, early 70s. So it's really neat. The tension wheel on the rear derailleur doesn't have any teeth. It's just a roller, which is neat in itself. It's nothing I've ever seen before. What's really amazing is that it's all metal and the springs and everything are still good, and that after 50 years the darn thing still works. That's really amazing. The other thing is the dual brakes, which I did a short on, which people call suicide brakes or death grips, but are safety brakes. They're called that because it's hard to put enough pressure on the long lever to stop the brake fast. There's other interesting things like the cable guides that have a double holder. The knurling on the sides of the wheel rims, which I assume are there to give you more friction for gripping. And the rim tape, which wasn't actually tape, looked more like a woven cloth, which was really neat. The tires were ancient and the sidewalls were all crumbling when I was taking them apart, but what was amazing is that they held air, and when I pulled them apart, the inner tubes were really quality inner tubes, especially the rear one, which was really thick. So I put new tires on it, and I put also new cables and tubing, because all the other stuff was kind of stuck from being corroded. And I cleaned up the rear derailleur and I cleaned up the front derailleur and adjusted everything, and I got all the gears working. Somewhere along the line, the double chain ring was replaced by a single chain ring that was warped and bent, and I replaced that with an old one I had laying around, which was straight and true. Another thing that surprised me was that the train was barely rusty at all, considering what I've seen before in other bikes. The chain was a pretty good quality. There was just a little bit of rust I had to clean off with a wire brush, but otherwise everything was in pretty good shape for a bike this old. The brakes were good, brake pads were okay. The wheels were true and straight, so all in all, I had to do a little tune-up on the wheels, but otherwise, everything was good. Very surprised by the condition and the quality of this bike after 50 years. I put new bar tape on too. Figured I'd jazz it up with this fancy bar tape I put on, but because otherwise the bike is kind of plain. So that's it for this American Arrow Comanche. I'll ride this bike around the neighborhood for a while to test it to make sure it's okay and that everything's good and tight, and make sure all the bolts are good and secure, and then I'll donate it to charity. But it's been an interesting experience working on this bike.